Graphic novels and comic books are all the rage right now, and they're not just for kids anymore. People of all ages are enjoying reading them in Canada. U of W Department of English professor Candida Rifkind has been teaching courses on comics for 15 years. She's examining how comics and graphic novels can tackle difficult and painful real-life topics and events. Joining us now from the University of Winnipeg Department of English is Professor Candida Rifkind. Good morning.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
When I think about comics, I think my favorites when I grew up, it was Archie comic books.
Yep.
There was Tintin, because I was French, of course.
Yes.
Asterix, Obelix, and there was Garfield.
Yes.
How have things changed when it comes to comics and graphic novels?
Sure. Well, the first thing is that all those comics are still going and still hugely popular. And what we have seen in the last couple of decades is artists and cartoonists coming from different areas of society, different backgrounds, using comics to tell more serious stories, to tell stories that are very personal about their own identities or about their families or their family history. We're seeing an explosion right now of Indigenous comics that are telling stories about Indigenous history, Indigenous heroes and leaders, also stories about residential schools, and using that visual and verbal combination that comics has, pictures and words, to really deepen those stories and attract new readers.
What do you think has changed in society where it's, you know, adults can suddenly pick up graphic novels and it's okay, it's considered okay?
The first thing I should say is that in both Japan and France and Belgium, those are two cultures where comics have always been seen as something for adults. So it's really something that's happening in the Anglophone speaking world and in North America and in Europe. And I think what's changed is the comics themselves. They're becoming book-length forms, not like monthly serials or like the Archie comics, you would pick those up at the supermarket.
Right.
So they're being published by quite prestigious publishers, really high quality production, hardcover comics with a lot of attention to detail, beautiful objects, as well as very deep and moving stories that are also fact-checked, because a lot of them are true stories. So it's just that comics have become another art form to tell stories that might otherwise be told in novels or autobiographies or documentary films.
I think about The Walking Dead too, which was sort of like the bridge. This was it was the graphic novels were created way before the series on TV.
Yes.
And that was beautifully produced as well.
Yes, and there are so many adaptations. So the obvious ones are the Marvel and DC superhero universe films, and there's always another one coming out, and that's a really rich universe. But there are also lots of independent writers and artists who don't work for major publishers or studios, who are using comics in really exciting and original ways, maybe incorporating art forms from their own culture or their background, or being really playful, taking something like the classic history of cat and mouse fights in comics, going back to Tom and Jerry or earlier, and telling a serious story.
Okay, so you wrote this book. Tell us about this brand new book that you wrote.
Yeah, so I co-wrote it with a research colleague in the UK at the University of London. His name's Dominic Davies, and we were finding that every time we went to a work event or conference, we were both talking about the same things. And we decided, you know, academia can be very competitive, and professors are always trying to get the first book out. And we thought, no, what we're going to do is work together. So we have different areas of expertise, and we've written this book. We each write 3 chapters, and we're looking at comics that are really from 2 big publishing clusters in this area. One is those by and about Vietnam, the Vietnam War and refugees who came to Canada, the US, Australia, and it's the children of those original refugees, the artist children, who are now wanting to tell that story and doing the research. The other cluster of comics is about refugees from Syria and the Middle East after 2015. So it's 2 kind of areas where we see these stories multiplying, and we see them deepening, and we see a lot of stereotypes about those refugees being challenged by comics.
And where can you find the book? We're out of time already.
You can find it at McNally Robinson or elsewhere.
Well, thank you for sharing this with us. It's such a cool genre and a cool trend. Thank you.
Thank you so much.